and welcome to another segment of On Purpose. This is Thawana. I am your host, and this is On Purpose. I am elated that you are here with us. Elated. I hope you're going back watching other segments because we have had some amazing guests, okay? So remember to subscribe so you get the notification and share it. Share it with your family, your friends, your coworkers. Okay, so again, this is Thawana, and this is On Purpose. I'm excited about our guest today. We've talked about this for a little bit, and we finally made it happen. And so I'm excited to share her with you. So get ready for virtual applause for Letitia Anderson. Woo!
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Finally.
Oh my gosh, this is good. Okay, so Letitia, I'm going to let you tell them, how did we meet? Do you remember? I don't even know, but like that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so tell them a little bit about yourself, like family dynamics, share with them what you enjoy doing. Like, she's very busy, so when you're not busy, what do you do? So, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Letitia Anderson. I'm a wife, a mother of 3 amazing sons, and I literally, how do I say it? Just obey God. That's the season I'm in right now.
Yes.
Obeying God season. So
Yes.
I can run down businesses that I had, but God told me to shut them down. I can talk about the things that I've done, and God said pause on those things. And so now I'm just committed 100% to Him. So that's where I'm at now. For my downtown, the things that I like to do for fun is really just hang out with my kids and my husband, and that's me. Like, go to the beach. I don't have to get in the water. Just to be out there, with the boys and everything. Yeah. And that's my moment of just like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're a boy mom.
Absolutely.
Groceries, honey.
All day, every day. And I homeschool, and I've been homeschooling since my oldest was in 2nd grade.
Wow, so you've homeschooled a while.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, tell us why. Why?
So, long story short,
Okay.
my middle son processes information differently. So
Okay.
he was in the ESC program. In the midst of that, he was going to a regular classroom, and then when she would get overwhelmed, she'd send him to the ESC classroom, and he's taking that as a punishment. And so the day that I was going in labor with my 3rd son, his ESC teacher called me. I love her. And she said, Mama, we need to have a conversation. I said, I need to come pick up my son. She said, yeah, come pick him up. So I went and got him, had my 3rd son. And the 2nd day while in the hospital, I called her. I said, what you think I need to do? Because something not right. It's not going to work. Because I already had issues. And I'm an advocate for my son, 100%.
We have to be.
Absolutely. Like, you're not going to label him. We're not playing that game. And she said, Mama, what your gut telling you? I said, my gut telling me to take my baby out of the school. And she said, okay, Mama. All right. Well, I'm going to see you when you come back to the school. And I said, okay, because again, she on the school phone, so she can only say so much.
Right.
And I go there and I said, I'm withdrawing him. I just don't understand what I need to do next. And when I walked out of that school, I had 2 years, like 2 bags, 2 years worth of school stuff. So he was in kindergarten, so it was 1st and 2nd grade. And she said, Mama, you got this, and anything that he needs, just let me know. So she sat him up to make sure he had a tutor. He had his IEP, so I would do the meetings.
Right.
My oldest, I snatched him out too. Like, we're going to do this. So I did the letter of intent, again, completely blind. Okay, not sure how this was going to look. That was never my intent. And then on top of all that, I got a fresh baby.
Wow. Oh my.
So that's how we got here. And my oldest graduated in 2023 from our high school, and he's in college now. He's made the dean list. He's on SGA. He's amazing in the Honor Society.
So listen, so if y'all thinking about homeschooling, like, this is your girl.
Yes, absolutely. Like, all the resources, everything.
Listen, we all had to do some level of homeschooling during COVID. And I am telling you right now, that kid of mine, I was missing his teachers like crazy.
You have to have a special anointing.
Yes. He kind of liked the freedom to that, not waking up and, having to look a certain way. But again, it was quite a chore.
It is, because you got to you have to be that sort. So you become that. You can't just leave it to the kids. So we had to do field days. And remember, my son processed information differently. So to teach him how to spell and to read, I had to take him to the park. And so I would touch it first and say, this is a tree. And then I would smell it, T-R-E-E-E. And I would do it repeatedly. So tree, grass, water. Tree, grass, water. Tree, grass, water. And so I would spell it. I would say it, then I would spell it, I would touch it. And then what I would do with him was I would just touch it and ask him what it was. And he would tell me, I said, I can't spell it. And then that's how he learned how to spell it until I no longer had to touch it. I could just say it.
So, Letitia, how did you had to educate yourself on how to educate him?
Well, because I had to learn disability myself.
Okay.
So I was in SLD too. So I already knew I learned differently. I comprehend stuff completely different.
Got
so
it.
like even now, when you're talking to me, and I'm 46 years old, I have to take everything you say and slow it down.
Wow.
And then literally compartmentalize what you're saying. So that's how I became very good at life coaching.
I got you.
Because I hear what you don't say.
Oh my. Did y'all hear that?
Again,
I hear what you don't say. Oh my goodness. Don't y'all love her? I do. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you're homeschooling, thinking about it, Letitia Anderson,
yes.
If you are not friends with her, just send me a little message. I'll connect you,
yes,
because I'm not saying there's anything. I think it's wonderful, and you see it a lot more, but I think sometimes the fear is they don't know, parents don't know what to do. Parents don't know that, like, when you do that, like, it's not like giving them their work and you going off to work.
And
like,
it's not an 8-hour day.
Right, it's not.
Like, I had to stop doing that because, again, my son would sit at the kitchen table and say, you know you're not my teacher, right? And you know this is not a classroom, right? But my oldest son would just sit and do his work. We didn't have no issue. But this second one, he's just going to make sure I know I'm not a teacher, right? But, you know, with him saying that, it's like, you're right. So I had to compartmentalize what I do already as a mom.
Yeah.
So I'm going to teach you these skills. I'm going to teach you how many eggs go in this to make a cake, because now we're doing math.
Teaching doesn't have to look like a classroom.
Doing science. Like, you're learning the things that we already did, and I had to stop thinking I had to fill up a whole day versus just enjoy my son. Yes, we're going to do some spelling. We're going to do some reading.
Right.
And I had to get him a tutor because the tutor was coming in. Because as a parent, I tell people this all the time. If you know you're going to end up in jail, don't do it. I don't think it's worth you going to jail. I told like 4 parents that, ma'am, I already see where this is going. Like, this is not for you.
Listen, you don't look good in orange, ma'am. Leave that kid at the school.
Just let the kid stay at the school, or find somebody, find a tutor, find a co-op.
Yeah, because you need the support, and like there are so many homeschool groups around.
Absolutely.
Like I know South Lake County they have a lot of groups down that way.
In Polk County. So I started in Lakeland.
Okay.
And my kids went to Wonder Here, which I loved them because it was 3 teachers who decided we don't want to do the school system stuff anymore. This is another way to do this. And so the Lord heard me, because I was like, I'm probably going to end up in jail in the living. So make a way out of no way.
Somebody find a bail bonds and put him
make
on
a way. And I literally, the tutor that he had, she said, hey, I know some teachers. They're starting a program here in Lakeland. Just go check them out. And I went and fell in love immediately.
Yeah, because you need a family. You need the support. Like, it's field trips wrapped around that kind of stuff. It's just the cohort of moms or dads or whoever it is. But the kids need to be socialized as well. Like, they need interaction. So, oh my God, like, okay, so homeschool. That's just one of the things I do. Just one of the things, which is a big thing. But like, I commend you for that, and I wish that we saw more of it. It doesn't mean, let me just dispel some things about homeschool. It doesn't mean that they can't play sports.
Right, no.
Nope, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean that it makes them antisocial. Not at all. And it doesn't it mean that they gotta sit up somewhere at the dining room table for 8 hours a day.
No, absolutely not. Because you and the kid gonna go crazy.
You go that jail time.
That's the
Coming.
jail time. Like your kid, if your kid, let's say your kid is registered here
Mm-hmm.
in Lake County,
Mhm.
right? And you want to homeschool, so you're gonna send in the letter of intent, let them know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That school district, whatever school your child is assigned to, if that school has a track team, your child can be on
That's
that track
right.
team. And whatever they have, be it music, whatever
Yes.
whatever extracurricular activities that take place at that school,
Your kid is
child
invited.
can attend.
Yes.
They can't tell you no.
Yes. So, okay, you guys got that, all right? So now we done brought y'all up on homeschool game.
Yes.
So reach out to her or reach out to me. But I commend you for that. And like, I've heard you talk about it, but I didn't know you've been doing it that long.
Yeah, absolutely. My first one to graduate. I was so proud. As a matter of fact, he finished school 2 days before my first brain surgery. We'll get into that later. But
Wow. Yeah, we will.
Yeah, he finished. Literally, he said, "I'm done." And I said, "You graduated?" And we looked at the paper, and I was like, "Oh, Pooh."
Oh,
Yeah, and I was just thinking like, "Oh, Lord." You know, I was just because so much was going on. But I was so proud of him. And then, we had his graduation because he didn't have a graduating class, so we created a graduation party.
Mm-hmm.
The family came. He walked in with his cap and gown. We played the music. Yeah. Oh, you gonna get that VIP?
Oh my goodness, I love this. Okay, so y'all up on the homeschool game, all right? All right. So Letitia, embrace your ugly. Tell us about that. For the ones of you that know her, you know a little bit, but for the ones that don't, tell them about Embrace Your Ugly.
So Embrace Your Ugly came about in 2017.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it was a 7-day process because when I say God gave that to me, God gave that to me, and He talked to me for 7 days. 7 days from when I realized that I was doing something. As women, we put on makeup, but I didn't realize my face until the makeup was done. I distanced myself from what I did because I didn't think I was cute. But I didn't realize that because a lot of us do that. Like, you don't really look until you see the finished product. And oh, yes, I got it, this, that, and the third. And I was there in the mirror, and I heard him audibly say, "Embrace your ugly." And I was like, God calling me ugly? I'm a little special sometimes. I was like, the Lord telling me I'm ugly? What's going on? What? And so the next day, I saw the letter U in the mirror. And I heard unique. And I was like, okay, so I started looking up the definition of unique. The next day, the G in the mirror, the same mirror. Because now I ain't putting no makeup on because Lord, I'm ugly. So now it's the G, right? And then it's, it's genuine.
Right,
and I
right,
looked
right.
up the definition. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the L.
Wow.
Which was the third thing.
Right.
And that's love.
Yeah.
And then the Y, and that's you. And these are, again, I'm going through it. So
Right.
once I got them all, that's only 4 days technically, right?
Yes.
The next 3 days was him telling me what I need to do. He ministered to me first. See, that's what I tell people. Before you get out here in these streets trying to minister to anybody,
tell them, Letitia.
you have to first be able to minister to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God literally was like, like I tell life coaches this all the time. How you gonna coach somebody about life or life coach and you don't have no reproductive organs? You are not reproducing nothing.
What in the world? What you doing?
You just around here putting like stallions and donkeys together, and that's how you get a mule, but they have to be artificially inseminated, and mules cannot reproduce. It's very rare. So you send people out here being duplicated, but they don't have the ability to reproduce nothing. And so God gave me the ability to like speak life.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I know that's what I do. But I didn't understand what none of this was gonna look like.
Yeah.
So I'm like embracing my ugly. I'm telling my husband about it. I'm telling my mom about it. Telling my friends. I'm like really, really excited, but I don't know what that entails.
Wow.
I didn't mind telling my story. I didn't mind. People knew I was violated, molested, raped. I just didn't know what any of this looked like until, in the midst of all this training, this boot camp. That's what I call it.
Boot camp.
my cousin calls me to tell me that her dad had passed away.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like I'm walking her through the process, and I started crying because her dad was my violator.
What?
So, and she don't have no clue. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about stuff, but it wasn't really like, so she's asking me for help, and I'm trying to help her.
Yeah, yeah.
And literally, tears are running down my face. So I want y'all to visualize this. 2 people on the phone crying over the same man for 2 different reasons.
Wow. Did she know?
No, she didn't know at the time. We had talked about different things in our life because almost every female, which is sad, in my family has been violated. Right? We'll talk about all that later. But
Okay.
almost every female. So she's asking me, and that's her daddy. So I'm helping her. So after we get off the phone, tears are just rolling. So I literally lay on my stomach before God because now I'm mad. Let me tell you why. What am I crying for?
I know.
I didn't even cry when this happened. I'm in my 30s with a whole husband and 3 kids. Why am I'm not.
Why?
That ugly cry. So now I'm mad because God got to give me an example. What am I crying about? Why am I upset about this?
Right.
And then it hit me. I'll never get a why, and I'll never get an apology. So in the midst of me getting all these revelations, the Lord decides to say, "But who's your puppet master?" I said, what does that mean? And he began to show me, because of what had taken place in my life from then, it controlled how I operated, how I reacted, how I responded, how I replied, all of that. How I lived my life was based off of something that happened to me when I was a kid. And he started showing me that I was a puppet without realizing it. Because decades don't went by. I was a minor. I was a little kid. I was like in elementary school. So that's how far along this had been with him. And so it was just kind of like, okay, God, so what do you say? Again, all this is in that same embracing your ugly. And I'm sitting in the parking lot in my car. And I'm like, okay, God, what do I do with this? Because I don't want him to control me no more. And he's like, you got to cut the strings. You gotta be intentional.
That's the only way a puppet master loses the control.
You got to do what?
Cut the strings.
And a real puppet master is above you.
Yes.
That's here. That's that mindset. That's that stuff that done sat there.
Yes.
And it done took root. And you've been feeding it or watering it intentionally or unintentionally.
But either way.
And all that is ugly. And I was like, so why I gotta embrace that? The reason you bring it in to embrace it is because that gives you the authority to release it. See, as long as you keep doing this, you don't got no authority.
But you gotta acknowledge it's there.
People don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to embrace it. So you can't evolve from it. If you don't acknowledge that I was raped, I was molested, I was violated, I was abused, I was this. If you don't acknowledge those things control you because you spend the rest of your life trying to hide them.
Wow.
Again, the puppet master is
The
control.
puppet master.
The trauma.
Oh my goodness.
And I had lived my life unintentionally. Because again, to see me, I've always been outgoing. I always know how to empower people. I know how to talk to you. And I could tell you my story and not drop one tear. And didn't even realize this joke is still controlling you.
Wow.
And I just was like in my car, just bawling and snotting. Again, I went into this 7-day boot camp thing. Like, God was like,
You and God.
You got to tell the people your story for real. Like, I've been telling people my story for real. Yeah, but because you have been distancing yourself from it. Like, because I could tell the story and not be attached to the story like it was somebody else. No, ma'am. This is you.
Yes.
Reattach this. This is you. This is your fabric. And this is how you're going to empower other people.
That's the only way, Letitia. That's the only way because you are able to be honest about it and be transparent. People, and I'm going to say this, people are able to be changed and set free from different bondages because we are transparent. And unfortunately, in the church, we don't want to be transparent. We want to tell the pretty story. Well,
the afterstory.
Yeah, people don't want to. You telling people about your afterglow. Let's tell people about the days you was in the ditch, the days the snot was rolling and the tears was rolling, and like you couldn't even see out of your own eyes.
That whole part.
Okay, and so I think that when you talk about how God said, okay, if you gonna help people, if you gonna coach people through life, like you're gonna have to tell people the truth, because when people see your truth, then people know what God is really able to do. But when there's no fruit falling off your tree, nobody wants to hear a pretty story. People want to see a testimony in front of them. They want to see that your life really has changed from one stage to the next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes we trying to hide it because we don't want people to see that some of the fruit is spoiled. Yeah, because you watering the trauma. You're still sitting in this soil that's tainted. And God can't do no. That's why when people say stuff like this, especially women preachers, preaching while wounded, you bleeding all over people. You're toxic. That's infectious.
Go get yourself right.
Get yourself together.
Yeah.
That's why you're angry. Like I could.
Oh, have you noticed how some of them, when they teach, and this is not a woman bashing, because I can say this
These
for men people, but when it just bothers me when people get up and preach and you can just tell like there's some anger residue there. Like it's just like it's just difficult to sit under that, and
because injury, wounds.
Yeah, and you sit there and you think, oh, I don't like this for you. I wish you had gotten healed before you got up there. Or at least not been flowing in anger when you know what I'm saying? Because when you're not okay, like it's okay to press the pause button, and
a pause is necessary.
We just kind of talked about that before the recording started. You know what I'm saying?
A pause is necessary.
It's necessary. And it's okay. Like, you really come back a better person.
It gives you an opportunity to recharge.
Yes.
And it does not mean that you're weak.
No.
Some of y'all really been injured, and you're still, like I tell people this, if you cover an infection or a cut on your leg, and you never change the bandage, you're making the infection worse. Because sometimes the cut needs to breathe.
Listen, you better be in my house. Like, my son literally got hurt at school. I think it was track or whatever. And, running the bleachers. They were exercising, doing drills. And has this gash on his shin. And I said, son, you can't keep covering it up. Like, I know you don't like the way it looks, but it's never going to heal if you keep covering it up. But what does that do? That says to him, it was like, well, I don't want everybody looking at it or whatever. Well, at least they know you've been through something. Because that's what scars say to people. Whether they're emotional scars, whether they're physical scars, it don't matter what kind of scars they are. People can see scars and they know, wow, she's been through something. Right. So I kind of want to listen at her.
Because she knows what you're talking about.
Nobody want to listen to nobody they don't have no scars. No. I'm sorry, like, you just pretty.
Yeah. And then, mind you, Embrace Your Ugly came before any of this happened. Before I got any scars.
Right.
Before any of this took place, before any of that, Embrace Your Ugly is about my early stages.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, God has such a sense of humor.
He does.
Because I remember driving in my car, and a friend of mine called me, and she was like, that's the power of words, and you was around here telling people to embrace your ugly, and now look, and she wasn't mean. That when she said it didn't come from a mean place.
Okay.
It came from she had to say it. Because, see, now I need to know if I'm delivered. Right? Because first of all, man, what is you trying to say, right?
Right.
But God literally said, and now as I was talking to her, God said, but now you can embrace your beauty. And so I repeated that. I said, you got to embrace the ugly before you can even embrace the beauty. Because when you do that, that gives you the boldness that you need.
Exactly.
That gives you something that you ain't have, that you didn't have before. It elevates you. It gives you the authenticity that you need, the unity with yourself.
Yes.
It gives you that timely understanding. It gives you that youthfulness.
Yes.
That's the beauty.
Yes.
But people don't get it because it's like I had to embrace all this ugly stuff because ain't no way I was going to go through this situation with grace. with the boldness that I needed to had I not embraced that ugly stuff. Because guess what would have happened? It would have compiled itself.
Girl.
That woe is me syndrome.
It would have.
Oh, Lord, I was already raped and molested and beat and abused, and now I got a brain tumor. So there was no pause.
Look at God.
But because I was equipped in this area and I was empowered, and I tell you that all, don't tell me you went to an empowerment conference. First of all, empowerment means to become stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and claiming your rights. If you go somewhere and ain't none of this take place,
You just went on a trip, baby.
or you was just encouraged. Encouragement come and go. That's it. There's a difference. You know how you be like, that really encouraged me, but then like 7 days later,
you back to
where you were, because you didn't get no tools.
Oh my God.
You didn't get nothing. You just, your emotions were fed.
Stop going somewhere just getting encouragement.
Let's be empowered.
And because with empowerment comes change. It comes the new you. Like,
empowerment comes with correction.
yes, and honey, some of us don't like that.
And that's why you don't want to be empowered. You
Yeah.
like being encouraged. Because that pat you on your back for a little bit. See, some of you are in a place where encouragement will work for you. Because
Yeah.
David said, I had to encourage myself. You know why David said that? Because David already had the tools that he needed. David was already empowered. God already had him. But you get in that moment sometimes where you need somebody to say, all right, sis, come on.
Yes.
Like, you got to get up. You can do this.
Yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. But if you still falling back, baby, you don't have the tools, or you're not using them. It's one or the other.
Oh my goodness. So you know what? Like, stop spending your money going all these places.
I tell people this all the time, baby. Because look, I'm gonna literally say how much. First of all, you're not gonna shame me into giving you my money. Let's just start with that. And you're not gonna shame me and make me feel like I have to come to the altar. Because I tell people this: you go to the altar, and for 7 to 14 days, it's like an antibiotic. You okay?
Yeah.
But what took place?
Yes.
Did the change come?
Right. Did the medicine work?
And then antibiotics you got to take for at least a good 30 days.
Yeah, like you may only take them for 10 days, but they in your system doing the work for a good 30 days or longer.
And what do people say? Finish all the
Yes, yeah, get finished taking your stuff.
But we
Oh
don't do
my
that.
goodness, look how you spiritualize that whole medication thing. Like, look at that. Oh my goodness. Listen, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I bring y'all good stuff. I'm telling you right now, I bring y'all real good stuff. Guys, we are coming back, okay? We are coming back for a part 2 because we want to dive in a little bit more about your testimony and where you are and what God has done, what he continues to do. And we certainly want to talk about some amazing things that you're doing and what you're working on, okay? So guys, if you got any questions, throw them in the comments. If you want to know about homeschooling, throw them in the comments or reach out to me. But I am so excited that you joined us. So if you think this segment will be a blessing to someone that you know, or someone that, you know, may need to hear this, okay, please share it with them, okay? So remember, I'm Thawana, your host. This was Letitia Anderson, my co-host, and I am so glad that you joined us. Subscribe. You don't want to miss this. Second segment coming up. You don't want to miss it. So remember, I'm Thawana. This is On Purpose. And whatever you do, do it on purpose.